Dear viewer, good evening and welcome to Spotlight. With me tonight, the CEO of the United HealthCare Community of Michigan, Mr. Dennis Mouras. Dennis, welcome to MEA.
Thank you. It's great to be here.
Thank you. Dennis, can you tell me about yourself? When did you join United HealthCare Community in Michigan? What you did before? What's your experience in this field?
Right. Well, first of all, I joined the healthcare industry right out of college. And as much as I hate to admit it, it's over 35 years ago.
Whoa.
So I've been in this business a long time. And I started on the employer-based insurance side of the business. And I was doing that for over 20 years. And then when I joined United HealthCare, which was in the middle of 2014, I moved to Michigan, and that's when I became way more involved on the Medicaid side. I had some involvement on Medicaid before that, but United HealthCare Community Plan of Michigan, we're in a Medicaid business here. And I just find that that side of the business is so much more rewarding. I really like being around our members and experiencing some of the issues that they're dealing with in life and what we could do to help the communities that we serve and the individual people.
Yeah, you mentioned that United HealthCare catered to the Medicaid member, but tell me more about United HealthCare in general.
Okay, so United HealthCare is, an operating division of United Health Group. That's the parent company. And within United HealthCare, the Medicaid business is one part of that. And on the Medicaid side, the plans that United HealthCare offers serves over 5 million people.
5 million?
5 million in 24 states.
I see.
For Michigan, we have 250,000 insured people.
I see.
And that's in 65 counties.
I see. Are you planning to expand from not just only Medicaid, but other area?
Right. So our expansion plans come in two ways. One is within there's people that are eligible for both Medicare and Medicaid.
Yes.
And for that group of people, we're in the process now of developing a product that we could offer to them that that will make it easier in a managed care environment for people who have both Medicare and Medicaid. You apply to the federal government for that early next year. If you get approval, those plans are effective on January 1st, 2018. So that's how far out when you start working on it now. The other area is, we really like our Medicaid business, and there's a lot of room to grow on the Medicaid side. So, our goal is just to, help our members live healthier lives, be a good community partner, and get that word out about United HealthCare. And we just would like to see that people want to join United HealthCare just because of the type of organization that we are.
You said we're reaching our member to live healthy and all that. What kind of program you have to reach those member? And for example, there is that breast cancer month. There is a walk. Do you do this kind of things?
So we do a lot of different community events. We have welcome events where we have programs at the zoo, and so we spend a lot of money doing activities just to give ourselves exposure. But there's one thing that we did this year that really stands out, and we opened up a center in Detroit. It's called My Connections, and what it offers is a holistic and approach to helping folks manage social and economic factors that impact their health.
Great.
And we opened that, and we cater to people that are not only our members, but just the community at large. If they see our name and they like us, we hope that they join United HealthCare when they get a chance. And so we have intake specialists that find out what's going on with the folks. Is it food insecurity? Is it housing? Is it transportation issues? Is it employment? And we help them hook up with the right agencies to help them. The other thing that we do is we help in some of those areas on our own. For example, we started a diabetic food box program earlier this year. It's a 6-month program. It ends at the end of this month.
Yes.
And what it is we gave one of the more severe diabetics that we have in our network, we give them enough food for a family of 4 for 6 months. and it's diabetic food. So we're trying to impact their lab results to help their disease progression slow, or hopefully improve their lives and make them more healthier. So we did a program like that. We also team up with the Magic Johnson Foundation with a project called Holiday Hope. And that provides a Thanksgiving meal to a family, and we do it right the weekend before Thanksgiving. We do it, last year we did it in Detroit and Lansing. This year we're going to do Detroit, Lansing, and Flint. And besides food, we also give clothing out at that event and some hygiene type things to help them just have a happier Thanksgiving.
I see. Honestly, I see, your relation with the Middle Eastern community. I mean, Amanda Al-Khatib and you and other people of United HealthCare, they are in every event, talking to people, advising people, getting your message to them to live healthy and all that. And that, honestly, is appreciated by the community, So we like you to, we encourage you to do more of that,
Right.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do more of that because I get a lot of my self-satisfaction of doing that. I try to go to a lot of the community events.
Yes, and I've seen you at so many of them.
Yeah, and one of them comes to mind. I was at a community event, and I was just happened to be talking to a member who was really enjoying the event. She really was having a very nice time at the event. And we were just talking like for 10 minutes. I had my United HealthCare shirt on, and she said, by the way, she goes, what do you do at United HealthCare? So I told her what I did, and her next thing was, can I hug you?
Oh, great.
And so I was like, just bring it in. And so I get a lot of satisfaction in it. That is really nice to be able to be around people that have that much appreciation and get that much out of it.
I see. In your plan, the doctor that are part of the United HealthCare, is your Middle Eastern doctors, they speaking the language? As you know, there are some people, especially the newcomer and a lot of refugees and a lot of people in Medicaid, it's hard for them to speak the language, and they like to go to a doctor who understands their culture, their custom, the way they eat, the way they late at night, having dinner at 12 o'clock in midnight.
Right.
Do you have that within your plan?
We do. So in our network, we pay a lot of attention to making sure we have doctors and other healthcare professionals that could meet our member needs.
Okay.
If I focus on doctors, we make sure that they understand the privacy concerns that Arab American women have about their health care needs. And we have, for example, over 300 Arab and English-speaking physicians just in Wayne County alone.
300?
Over 300 just in Wayne, and over 1,000 throughout the 65 counties of the Lower Peninsula that we're in. So our network has over 1,000
So most of the Middle Eastern doctors are part of your network.
They are.
Great,
they are.
Great, yeah. And of course, we encourage you, not just the Middle Eastern, the Latino, and but we are in this interview, we cater to the Middle Eastern community.
Right, and that's what I was speaking to.
Yes.
And we also have both male and female doctors because we know that's important to folks as well.
Let's talk about the diseases. Let's mention that you said we have doctors that cater to the woman issue and all that. Is it part of your plan to cater to the woman issue, to have a doctor, or do you have a program educating the Middle Eastern, the Arab and the Chaldean women about the issue that they're facing?
Yes. So I've spoke with physicians myself about trying to educate them. We talk a lot internally about it. We talk a lot about our community events about it. And so, what I understand is that, our particular Arab American women, they're concerned about their privacy.
Yes.
Well, we're concerned that they get the proper screenings.
Great.
Because if you get your proper screenings, catching a potential illness early is always better than letting it progress. The chance of effective treatment is much greater when you catch it earlier. So even doing programs like this, it's to get that word out. Like, I like to be able to talk about some of the stuff that we pay attention to, because the overall mission, again, for United is to help people live healthier lives. And these kind of programming helps us do that.
Absolutely. How about, like, for example, other diseases in the community, like diabetic? Diabetic, it's very popular by the diabetic and the blood pressure. Do you some program to educate the community about it?
Right. So we have a whole program around diabetics. I mentioned our food box program, but we have other communications that are always going out to diabetics. If we see that diabetics aren't getting their screenings, because with diabetics you need your you need eye exams, you need your blood sugar tested regularly,
feet and,
right? You need all types of services just to make sure that you keep it in check.
Are you encouraging for that? And,
right. We'll do mailers, we do phone calls.
Excellent.
And we also get our physicians that we record their voice, and we'll call up members. We'll dial out, but in the doctor's voice, inviting their members to come in for a test, and they'll do that in both Arabic and English.
That's great. That's great, honestly. What other diseases that you have a program that related to the Middle Eastern community that...
Well, like asthma is another big program, but one thing I'll touch on is on the social determinants of health. So, we have the center that I mentioned earlier that just caters to all those social needs. And I mentioned a couple of things. Another thing that we pay a lot of attention to is the housing side. 2 weeks ago, I had the privilege of representing United HealthCare at 2 different housing events.
Okay,
one was in Ypsilanti, Michigan. Another one was outside of Lansing in Holt, Michigan. And this is giving back to the communities we serve. This is what it's all about. Where we donated almost $17 million to, the one in Ypsilanti was $8 million, and the one in Holt was $8.9 million for housing for low-income individuals and families and veterans. And so recognizing that that's one of the social and economic factors that impacts people, at that center we're looking at all those things and trying to bring all that together to help people live healthier lives.
Great. Then there is an issue and increasing in the community is abusing some medicine like antibiotic, Vicodin, sleeping pill. And honestly, I see the increase in the community. Tell me what you are how you're educating the community about this and the danger of those medicine.
So again, we do a lot of educating with physicians. We have a YouTube type programming at United HealthCare. We call it UHC for United HealthCare On Air. And it's programming that goes to all our physicians, where we have programming around different things that we want to educate them on.
How long is that program?
It's been in place just since April. So
no,
it's
how the program? Is it video or?
Oh, it's video. It's on demand video.
Yeah, and how long?
And there's Q&A. There's all different sessions.
I mean, I'm willing to put that because that in my TV, because that will educate the community, because it's become honestly a serious problem.
Okay, so we could definitely show you some of the programming that we do, and if you think it's a good fit, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah.
One of the things on there that is a personal issue for me is antibiotics.
Okay.
Antibiotics is a life-saving drugs.
Absolutely.
And they're really good for people.
When my teeth get hurt, I go to that.
That's right. But the bad thing about antibiotics is misuse or overuse ends up being a bad thing for a lot of people.
Yes.
Because the antibiotic, what it treats is bacterial infections. So bacteria, if you keep getting antibiotics, the bacteria builds up resistance to those antibiotics eventually. And then what happens to a person is when they get sicker the next time, they need a stronger antibiotic. And the strength ends at some point.
Wow.
And so people that use it too much, they get sicker more often. They stay sicker for a longer period of time. And it's usually more complications associated with their illness. So antibiotic is something, it's great when you need it, but let your doctor tell you when you need it. And we do a lot of work to make sure their doctors are educated and they know that they need it. But some doctors, they'll tell us, well, my patient asks me for it, and they'll get mad at me if I don't give it to them.
Yeah.
But it's worse if you do, if you don't think they need it.
Absolutely. How about other drugs like, Vicodin and a sleeping pill, and they abuse it. Instead of taking one sleeping pill, they take 4 or 5 because, and then after that, there is no effect.
Right.
Yeah.
So both of those, Vicodin, they're areas of abuse that end up, the more you take, the more you want to take, and they end up, for some people, they end up taking over their lives. And then when they can't get them by prescription, they seek, other types of drugs that they can get that aren't by prescription. That's
Absolutely.
no good either.
Yeah.
So we end up in that vicious cycle. So again, painkillers are great when you need them. You just have to be careful how you take them.
Okay. Then there is major issue in the community, the Middle Eastern community. It's hookah, and please, I want you to give it some time to talk about the effect and of hookah in your health, and in the short term and long term, because I seen increase tremendously in the Middle Eastern community is the young, the children, the elderly, everybody smoking hookah is becoming, instead of drinking tea or coffee, let's get together to smoke hookah.
Right.
So please, I want you to shade your knowledge about the effect of hookah in the short term and the long term.
Okay, so I'm really concerned about hookah. And on a short-term thing, to start off with, most people don't think it's as bad for you as smoking cigarettes. But actually, many of the health issues associated with cigarette smoking occur with hookah as well.
And it's even worse, isn't it?
Well, it's even worse because one session of hookah, a person, the amount of smoke that they inhale is about 90,000 milliliters. One cigarette is 500 to 600 milliliters of smoke.
Wow!
So that means in one hookah session, that's equivalent to 7 to 9 packs of cigarettes.
Whoa!
That's how bad it is.
And he'll tell you, I don't smoke cigarette, but I smoke hookah.
Right.
So
right. So
go ahead, please.
it's bad, and we really have to do. Even we have. I've been learning more about hookah in the last year. We even have to. United HealthCare has to do a better job of educating people about the ill effects of hookah and how that could impact your length of your life and how healthy of a life that you're living. It's a bad thing, and the long-term effects are you can end up with all these illnesses, mouth cancer, cancer of the esophagus, lung cancer, and then other long-term illnesses, chronic illnesses like chronic bronchitis, emphysema, things like that. They're horrible, horrible diseases that you really don't want, and folks really need to be aware of it with hookah.
What's your advice? For example, the cigarette, they put that patches or anything. Is there a way that somebody could treat himself to get away from hookah?
Well, what I would recommend people is they go to their primary care doctor. Like the doctors in our network, they know that we will pay for smoking cessation, including hookah programs, that will pay for them and the medicines that they need to help them, through those programs. So that's all part of the benefit package that's offered. And I would encourage people that want to get off that to go see their primary care doc and get treatment for it.
Honestly, it's a major issue in the community, and I hope you have a program, you reach in the community as much as you could to put them aware about what could happen to them if they smoke hookah, especially the one, I seen them very old smoking and very young smoking, and that's a major problem.
Right.
Dennis, at the end, tell me what's your message to the community as a health in general. What United HealthCare want from the community to adopt, and do you want to reach more of the community to be part of your plan?
Okay, so our main mission at United HealthCare is to help people live healthier lives. I probably said that a few times already, and we back it up. And I want folks to know that we back it up by doing a lot of community events. I mentioned our housing projects, our diabetic food box program. We do $120,000 in grants a year too, and we pick a different theme each year. This year it happens to be smoking cessation, so that's our theme this year, and we're looking at proposals now to pick the winners for this for this year's community grant. So we want folks to know that that's the type of organization we are. The way that we want to attract business is we want people just to look at our company, admire our company for what we're trying to do. We spend a lot of time trying to educate people about how to live a healthier lifestyle. It's easier when there are members, quite honestly, because we do things, as I mentioned, that's not just for our members. Our My Connections and some of the other activities that we do aren't just for our members, but we're not allowed to have the same access to everybody as we do with our own members. And so therefore we get to provide more education when they are our member.
And
we
how
pay
could
attention.
member could join your plan?
Well, if you're a Medicaid beneficiary, each year you get the opportunity to change if you're with another Medicaid plan, or when you enroll in Medicaid for the first time, you get to choose among different plans. And like I said, there's 68 counties in the Lower Peninsula. We're in 65 of those counties, so we're just about everywhere except the Tri-County area around Lansing. Other than that, we're everywhere in the Lower Peninsula.
And when is the time that for him to join? You said there is a time that when it comes.
So each person.
What month? What
each person. It's their own month. It's on their anniversary each year.
I
they
see.
get to make a change. Some states it's once a year. Everybody.
Okay.
In Michigan and some other states, it's each person gets their chance on their anniversary date to make that change, or when they first sign up.
Well, Dennis, thank you very much for the information. As I mentioned again, your team has been almost in every event. I see them with the community, trying to educate the community and talk about the issue, the health issue, so they could get better health. And we thank you very much for that.
Right.
And we encourage you to continue doing that, because at the end, when you have a healthy member, you wouldn't spend much on them.
Exactly right.
This is the idea.
We rather spend more money now to keep them healthy,
to avoid things before it happens.
Worry about it later. That's exactly right, and it's just the right thing to do as well. But I want to thank you for having me here, and thank you for all the work that MEA does. I mean, from the first time I heard about your organization, and I've been to some of your events, it's really exciting to see the work that you guys are doing, and it was a pleasure to be here.
Shukran. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Dear reviewer, that was my interview with Dennis Mouras. He's the CEO of the United Health Community in Michigan. Honestly, as I mentioned, I see their liaison everywhere in the community, an event of the community. I want you in return, when you see them, to thank them for the program they do, to thank them for what they do to keep you healthy. Thanks for watching, and good night.